Hello and welcome back. So hope you have your cocktail on this fine Easter Sunday. We are going to get right in on it. We are going to tie a blended green and white Big Tasty. I just made a video how we prepared the feathers. So I am going to post that video and I will post this video right behind it. But there it is. This is the Chartreuse and White blend Big Tasty. So what I'm going to put in the vise is a size 4 wide gap hook with a 3mm tungsten bead. I'm using white thread for this fly, but any thread you like will work. And feel free to use any color you want. I like using white because I can always take a marker to my white thread and change the color. Now, everyone who knows me knows that I like putting a drop of zap on my flies just to keep everything from spinning, but I don't have zap, believe it or not. I am out. So this particular fly, we're just gonna have to pull really tight with a thread and hopefully won't break it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a dubbing loop. And bring my thread forward. Put my spinner on the loop. Take another sip of my rum and coke. That is good. And now I'm going to bring in the Marabou that I had pre-prepped with the Flashabou. And we are going to carefully insert this into the dubbing loop. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to carefully open it and pull away the clip. Now, you don't want too much material past the thread. You don't want to make huge clumps when you spin. So once you like it, spin it up, lock it into your loop, just like so. Give it a good spin and get your bodkin out and free up some of these trap fibers. It doesn't matter if some of these fibers fall off. There's plenty of marabou on this fly. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to use the rotary function on this tool, on this vise. I'm going to start pulling back all my fibers to the back and careful not to break the thread on the hook point. I'm going to start doing my wraps, always stroking back. It's really hard to stroke this back in the beginning. It doesn't want to, but you know, it trains itself as you go, and it makes it easier at the end when you're freeing the trap fibers, if you get it at least somewhat started correctly. So just keep bringing everything back. You know, I've said it many times on all my other videos, this is a really durable fly, which I find incredible because marabou by itself is easy to rip apart and tear and break and what have you, but this fly, it'll catch you dozens of fish. It's a very durable fly. As long as you are careful when you bring this Marabou forward, that you seat it nicely against the bead, and that you when you lock it in with your thread, that you get it good and locked in. Maybe one more turn. Okay. I think that's about all I'm gonna get. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my thread and I'm going to capture the loop. And this is what's important. You really have to make sure that you get in there good with this thread and you capture that loop well. Once you feel like you've got it, which I do now, and you take your loop to the top, and you cut it from the top so you don't risk cutting your bobbin or cutting your thread off. So now essentially this fly is pretty much done. All I'm going to do is take a couple last little turns here just to make sure that we didn't that we got it good, that we've locked it in nice and tight. And get my whip finish tool out. Give this a little whip finish. Cut my thread off. And basically now the only remaining thing that must happen is you again take your bodkin out and you free all these trap fibers. And again, some of these will fall out. It doesn't matter. There's a ton of Marabou on this fly. All right. So this particular fly, now that I'm looking at it, I think might be a hair longer than I like. You know, a lot of people ask me, like, how do I improve my hookup ratio? Well, right off the bat, one of the things that I often say to people, one of the most important things that I think I do to improve my hookup ratio is I don't use excessively long flies, and I use wide gap hooks. So I think that when you use a long fly, what happens is that a fish will come and bite the back half and misses the hook. So I think that this fly is maybe about, I'm gonna say about a centimeter or half an inch too long for my particular taste. Everyone is different. If you like it, fish it. So how do I make this fly the length that I like? Well, you never ever cut Marabou, ever. So what you do is you pinch your Marabou to the length that you like and you rip off the fibers. Remember I told you Marabou is easy to break? Well, here you go. It's very easy. This doesn't hardly take any effort at all. But what I'm doing by doing it this way is I'm keeping those uneven, very natural looking wispy ends. I'm not coming in here with a scissor and making this look like a haircut. So now I'm starting to get to a length that I think is a much better length. I like this fly. I'm gonna guess that I'm sitting at about 5 centimeters, about right now. Let's check it out. I'm sitting at about maybe 5.5, but about 5. And that's about the length that I really like for my big tasty. I think that 5 to 6 centimeters is really the range that you want to be in. 4 centimeters is definitely works. When I reduce my hook size, I definitely reduce my fly size. So when I start fishing, or when I start making, like I use this for a 5 and a 6 weight fly rod, and when I reduce to my 3 weight or 4 weight, I'll use a smaller hook and I'll make the fly a little smaller as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. This is the Big Tasty, and let's see if I can give you a little better look. I hope you hit the like button and subscribe, because there will be more videos coming. I think my next video is actually going to be a cooking video. Weather's getting better here. I want to start smoking some fish. And it's warm enough now that I can actually start smoking outside. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hit that like button and come back.